Absolutely. Kate, for now, thank you. We appreciate it. Our Kate Rooney.
All right, Kate, thank you. Let's bring in Danny Savalos, legal analyst for NBC News, and joining us remotely, Caitlin Long, founder and CEO of Custodia Bank. Danny, welcome. Good to have you with us. I presume that this hearing that Bankman-Fried is about to go into is going to be relatively short. They typically are. What is going to happen, and then what is going to happen next to him?
It's going to be very quick. He's going to plead not guilty. In fact, the court is pretty much not even set up to take a guilty plea at this stage, at this appearance. They'll also address bond, which is the federal system uses a bond system. And as we've heard about Bankman-Fried, he has friends, it appears, in very high places because his parents, no surprise, parents frequently will put up the value of their house. But to make up that extra, you're going to need some pretty impressive property. And then what happens after that is pretrial services has to look to see that you really have that property that you're putting up. They kind of do a mini audit of what exactly these donors, I guess, for lack of a better term, actually own.
How
and whether
much
they can
does he
put it
have
up.
to put up? Remind us.
It's
Total?
a $250 million bond, but in the federal system, you may not even have to put in an actual penny or cryptocurrency or whatever. You just need to post usually
Danny,
property in the amount.
Sam Bankman-Fried literally just entered his not guilty plea. Exactly as you were saying, that they wouldn't even be set up to handle anything other than that at this moment. But the significance?
Yeah, it would be crazy for a defendant like Sam Bankman-Fried to even try to enter a guilty plea at this stage because you're giving up really one of your main bartering pieces with the government. If he does end up pleading guilty, it will be through negotiation. Just as it appears reportedly, he negotiated his return from the Bahamas, waiving extradition, it appears, in exchange, and this is just based on reports I've read, that the government agreed to allow him to remain out pending trial. Now, a lot of people were shocked that he was allowed to remain out. But this is not what is in the federal system called a presumption case. There are no guns, no drugs. Even in these massive financial fraud cases, there is a possibility, and in fact, under federal statutes that address this, a presumption that a defendant like Sam Bankman-Fried should be able to get out pending trial.
Let's just go back to Kate for some context on this not guilty plea. Kate, what can you tell us?
Yeah, Kelly, so we are getting word, his lawyer is saying just now at the hearing that Sam Bankman-Fried is pleading not guilty to all counts here. As we mentioned earlier, there are 8 counts here, including fraud, money laundering, and wire fraud as well. But we have the official Sam Bankman-Fried pleading not guilty to all counts.
It's very interesting, Danny. I assume that they can mitigate the flight risk here by in a variety of means, presuming he does make bond and get released. But one thing that is very difficult to mitigate is the risk that this individual may pose to himself.
Not only to himself, but he also arguably would have been a flight risk because where'd they find him? In the Bahamas. I mean, this is something that courts would look at very closely. But if the government was already on board with him being released, and because the Bail Reform Act essentially requires the court to set a bond that is not so unreasonable, but that is reasonable enough that the defendant can make that bond. Now, you look at this number, it scarcely feels reasonable to the rest of us mortals, but apparently when you're dealing with Sam Bankman-Fried and whoever his wealthy friends are, $250 million is apparently doable as a bond. But again, not putting up the actual cash. Instead, it's property usually that makes this.
Caitlin, let me turn to you, and let's turn the corner and talk a little bit about crypto. We know that FTX is gone, bluey, out of here, done. Is Bitcoin in a similar state of extremis?
Oh, heavens, no. You can see that not just from the price action, but also from the activity on the blockchain itself. I looked this morning at stablecoin on-chain volumes, and they've actually gone up since the early November explosion of FTX. So what does that tell you? It tells you this technology is alive and well and still functioning just fine on today, which happens to be the 13th birthday of Bitcoin, the 13th anniversary of the first Bitcoins mined in the Genesis block.
Well, happy